Stress is not the enemy. Let me repeat that, because stress is a $300 billion a year industry, and they don't want you to know it's not the enemy. Stress is part of being alive. It shows up when deadlines stack up, when our home life gets complicated, when the world feels loud and relentless. And sometimes it hits fast and hard, and you feel it coming. But sometimes it just slowly creeps in and adds up over time, and then we react to the smallest thing that pushes us over the edge. Stress resilience is how we decide what happens next. It means we can face the hard moments, feel what we feel, and still find our footing. We can bend, not break, and still move forward. We can recover and move forward with our head held high. And this is the important part. It's not about being tough in some big way. Resilience is not about pretending stress doesn't hurt, because sometimes it does. It's an active process. The brain and the body adapt. We can learn from stress. We can build patterns that support better coping tools the next time around. So what does that look like in real life? It looks like catching ourselves before we snap at someone who didn't cause a problem and doesn't deserve our anger. It looks like reaching for support instead of isolating ourselves. It looks like solving what can be solved today and accepting what can't, at least for today, and maybe solving tomorrow. Researchers talk about resilience factors and resilience mechanisms. Resilience factors are things that make resilience more likely. Having people we can trust and lean on is so important. Believing challenges can be handled, even if they're hard. Being flexible in the way we think, instead of going straight for the worst case scenario and reacting. And resilience mechanisms are what kick in when stress hits. How we interpret what's happening, whether we spiral or pause, and whether we choose a helpful coping strategy or a harmful one. Together, they shape the way stress moves through our life. They decide whether stress becomes a growth story or a burnout story, the story we write in our life. It's time to take control of that pen and write the rest of our story. That's where pause, breathe, proceed fits in. When stress hits, the nervous system does exactly what it's designed to do. It gears up. It protects us. Fight, flight, or freeze. Let's go. But the problem is the world got louder, faster, and more relentless, and we end up living in a constant state of on position without a reset button. Pause, breathe, proceed is your reset button. The pause is where resilience begins. The pause is where we stop the automatic reaction and let the thinking brain take the conversation and enable us to understand what's really going on. The pause is the micro moment of control when everything feels like it's slipping away. That pause says, no, wait a minute. Let's focus. And the breath shifts the body and the mind. One deep belly breath can shift everything. It tells us we're not in danger. We can respond instead of react. We can find calm in the storm and have clear thinking in a calm way. And then comes proceed. This is the part that turns stress into resilience. Proceed means we choose one next step that actually helps us and everyone around us instead of feeding the chaos. It might be tackling the most urgent piece of the problem, asking for help from a colleague, a friend, or a partner, saying no to one more commitment, taking 10 minutes to reset before we get back in the game. Every time we move through this habit, pause, breathe, proceed, we're not just surviving the moment. We're training our brain. We're teaching our brain and body that we can do hard things without losing ourselves. We can write the rest of our story. We can take ownership of what happens next. It happens in everyday life. This week I lost a friend, had a lot of deadlines, a lot of classes to teach, and typically I would be ready to explode, quick to react, short fuse, my gut would turn. But through the process, I have learned to pause, breathe, proceed. Every time I was aware of this, I was able to find calm, not react, find a place where I could process what's really going on and what I really needed to do to dial back that reactivity, dial back that stress response, and keep my mind and my body healthy. It's about honoring yourself and those around you. Stress doesn't just vanish. It doesn't go away. We reword it. We own the way we react to it, respond to it. Resilient researchers talk a lot about what builds this kind of strength. Staying connected instead of isolating ourselves. Finding meaning in everyday actions. Not just big achievements, but the everyday moments that make your heart happy. Taking care of basic health, sleep, movement, food. Small rituals that tell us we're safe, it's okay. Smile, find joy. And no surprise, I also talk about mindset. Learning from past hard moments instead of only relying on them. Reframing challenges not as problems, but as a way to learn and grow. Staying hopeful enough to believe that today is not the whole story. We still have a lot of story to write in our life. Pause, breathe, proceed lives right at the intersection. Science made human. Tools we can actually use. And culture by design, not default. We create that one micro habit where resilience can grow. One pause at a time. So here's the truth. Let's be honest. It's time to wake up. Stress isn't going anywhere. Life isn't about being perfectly calm. We can build our stress resilience, though, and find more calm than chaos. We can train ourselves to meet hard moments with more clarity, control, and compassion for ourselves and others around us. And it doesn't have to be a big program you do. One habit, 3 words. Pause, breathe, proceed. We'll quiet the noise, rewire the response, and find our power. Because one pause can change everything. So here's our pauser challenge for the week. We're going to start building our stress resilience today. Why not? There's no better time. When something shows up in the inbox and you're ready to explode. When home life gets chaotic and you're ready to run. When you're in the car line waiting to pick up your kid. When you're in the grocery store ready to just lose it. Take a pause. Find one stressful moment in the next 24 hours, because I know we all have one. We'll have them. And handle it differently. Pause for 5 seconds. Notice this. Just pause. Heck, put your hand on your heart. Put your other hand on your belly and belly breathe. Slow and deep. And then proceed with a way that honors yourself, finds calm in the situation. You don't have to do this alone. We're here for you. We're going to solve this slowly. We're going to create one habit, 3 words, that puts the power back in your hands to write the rest of your story. That's all. Take one moment, a pause, a belly breath, and then proceed differently in a way that you find calm and joy and peace and happiness. Because that's how stress resilience grows. Through practice, through the habit of catching yourself every time you do this to this. So remember, it's what we do. We quiet the noise, rewire the response, and we find our power. Because a pause can and will change everything. And it's time for a new way of living with a new way of thinking.